Welcome to Violin Adventures number 82. We start off with the YouTube Violin, and then we go to the challenging cello repair, and then we go back to the YouTube Violin. And there was so much footage repairing the cello that I had to cut a lot out, and I also had to speed a lot of it up just to keep it down close to 20 minutes because I think that's long enough. So I hope you all enjoy this episode, and we'll get right to it. And we have another thing for you all to vote on. We need to decide about which pegs to vote on, so don't forget to vote. Okay, we are ready to glue the neck into the violin and set the neck. So I made some brand new fresh glue so it will hold it really nicely. As you can imagine, the glue swells the wood and then it doesn't just go where I want it to go. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, it's ready to dry for 24 hours. All 5 dimensions are in the correct place. Now back to our YouTube violin. I'm going to take the clamp off. And there it is. So we need to cut off this extra wood and make this look real good. And then I also need to drill the holes in the scroll. Now to the challenging cello. Okay, here's our challenge cello. And I did some little fiddling with this, and I think the first thing I'm going to do is try to get this middle seam together on this cello. That's the most important seam, and so I'm going to do that first. Now while my glue is still hot from putting on the setting the neck on the violin, I'm going to try to get going on here. I have a little bit of a time crunch because I just have about 1 hour before I need to put everything away for a string ensemble. So let's see what we can do in 1 hour. So what I'm doing first is setting this up. Just doing a setup before I glue it to make sure that I have a plane. Okay, so far these 2 clamps are doing well. Now we're coming to the hardest part where the wood is really warped, and let's see what happens. We'll see if we can get it together. Okay, are you ready for this? I've got it clamped up all in the dry, and of course that's going to be different once I get the glue on. It never goes back exactly the same, but I'm really happy with this clamp up. So I'm going to carefully take the clamps off, and we're going to try to glue this. And I just measured the thickness of the top, and it is not very thick, so we don't have a lot of wiggle room with this. So here goes. Quick prayer to God for help, and we'll dive in. Okay, this, praise the Lord, it came out really nicely. And I use anything and everything I need to put pressure on or balance it. And at this point, this looks very well. It went together much better than I expected. It looks like all the seams are together. This looks like a beautiful repair on the middle seam. Of course, all the other cracks are open, and I'm supporting them, but I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out, because this middle seam was the worst thing I was dreading. And even with the warped condition, it went together fine. I just made it go where it's supposed to go. So praise the Lord, God helped us, and we've got the middle seam together. So I'll see you in 24 hours after this is good and dry. Well, it's the next day, and I'm thrilled to look at this seam. It looks like it really went together correctly. I don't see any raised areas. So I am thrilled with the result, and I thank God because He had to help me. I've never had it go together so quickly and so easily. And these were warped, so God must have done some miracle here. Okay, let's take it apart and see what the other side looks like now. Okay, the back looks good too. So, now on that glue up, I only did the middle seam. So the next plan now is to glue back these other cracks. And I might do this worst one first. So onward and upwards, I'm going to warm up the glue and then we'll be back to start fixing the other cracks. Okay, I'm going to do one big crack here on the lower right side and then one big crack here on the top. I'm going to start with this crack right here and it runs down to about there. So we're going to get this filled with glue and clamped, and then we'll do this section down here, which is really bad. Now I want to show you guys this middle crack. Except for the glue that I have to clean off, this crack went together beautifully. There's no surfaces where one side is higher than the other. It just went together beautifully. That's just miraculous. Now this is the next crack we're working on, and I'm holding it together here so it doesn't break off. But we're going to work on that, and this is warped. It also has a little piece out right there, and you can see how it doesn't go together well, so I'm going to be working on that. This little section had a line across the screen, and I don't know why it's there, so please ignore it. Okay, we have this crack going together nicely, and then over here was our really bad crack. Okay, so this area here is the next big crack that we're doing. Goes all the way up through here. So that took a little bit of working, but I think it's going to be all right. Next, we'll want to do this crack here, and maybe this crack here, and this crack over here. But we'll leave this for 24 hours and we'll see how it is tomorrow. But so far it's doing much better than I expected. Okay, it's the next day. I'm going to take the clamps off and see how the cracks came out. Okay, that looks fine. I think that one just came out really nicely too. So we're going to proceed to the next crack. Now there's one right in here in the middle of the sound holes. There's a crack right here that needs to be closed. Another one on this side. Actually, there's a whole bunch of little cracks. So I'm going to take these support clamps off and take a good look at what's left. Okay, this is the inside of the cello, and let's get a good look at this. If you look up close, there's this crumbly powder, which looks like a sawdust and glue mixture, but there's a lot of sawdust. So that's on both sides of this strip of oak. And I need to try to get the strip out without damaging the cello much. Well, this is the back side now, and I'm working on cleaning out this seam, which is full of, it feels like sand in here, and it's just dirty. So I was trying to clean this out as quickly as possible. I need to quit. It's getting late, but before this dries up again, I'm trying to clean it out. As you can see, I've cleaned out some of it, but you can still see there's a lot of dirt in there. And it just feels like sand, very fine sand. Okay, here's the latest. I took this up to the kitchen sink because this seam was just full of dirt and filth. I think he just used filler to fill in on this instead of bringing the wood together. So I'm in the middle of cleaning that out. But okay, and here's the back side. So what I'm going to do while this wood dries and while I need to stop is clamp this together so it dries in the correct position, and then we can finish it maybe tomorrow or do some more work on it tomorrow. Okay, here it is. We'll let that dry, and tomorrow we'll work some more on cleaning out that seam. Okay, this is 24 hours later. I'm going to take off the clamps and see what other cracks we need to repair. I don't hear any other buzzing, but it doesn't have a nice clear tone, so we'll have to work on that tone. Okay, overnight this has just curled up even more than it was. So right now I'm going to clean out this crack and try to get all the dirt out of it. Back to the Youtube Violin. Okay, it's time to drill the holes for the pegs on the peg box. So you're going to help me keep this straight. Now, that reminds me, we have another thing to vote on. It looks like the majority of people, and thank you for voting because we had, I don't know, 20 votes maybe? I didn't count them up. But the majority went for the gold with a little red. So we're going to go with that. And I'm going to pull out some different sets of pegs, and you guys have to vote on which style of pegs to use for the setup, for the tailpiece, and for the end pin. So, but right now we'll go ahead and drill. Okay, here are the 3 options that you can vote on. This first set is boxwood with the ebony collars and a matching end pin. The next set is rosewood with gold collars and a matching end pin. And this set is ebony, and these have the little eye at the end of the peg with the matching here and also in the end pin. So if you want to pick, we have a choice of the boxwood, the rosewood, or the ebony. As far as weight, this is the lightest, this is medium, and this is the heaviest. Okay, it's your choice. This is the YouTube Violin, so you pick boxwood, rosewood, or ebony. All of these are very nice, very fine accessories. Okay, we're going to glue the lower nut. So this week has been very interesting. It's been a bit cold, and we've had some rain, and tonight we're supposed to get some snow. So we'll see what happens. Okay, here we are at the end of the week. So our first stop is here at the cello top. And these things I have on the top are just a little bit of pressure so that the top won't curl up too much. Right now it's curling a bit, so I'll keep an eye on that over the weekend while our crack dries here. But so far the top is working out very nicely. Here's where you all get to vote. We have the boxwood, the rosewood, and the ebony pegs. Please pick which set you would prefer on the YouTube Violin. Next we have our YouTube Violin, and we have the upper nut and the lower nut that are drying, and next week we'll take these down and fit them real nicely to the violin. We'll also find out what you guys voted for on the peg box and put on a bridge and a sound post, and we'll try this YouTube Violin and see how it sounds. Exciting. Next we have the back of the cello, and the problem I see is I got a lot of this cleaned out, but this was filled with some kind of powdery cement, a very gray powdery substance that is really stuck on the edges here. So I have to do more work next week on getting this cleaned out. Right in here you can see that the seam is not clear and clean. And here we have our banjo ukulele, and the parts just came this week in this box, so we will be repairing this soon. Yitzer Samuk Titzor Shalom. Shalom Kibaka Batuach. So this can be your mind or intentions, leaning on referring to the Lord. You will watch over or guard him in peace. Peace because in you he trusts. Thank you all so much for watching this episode, for your wonderful comments and your thumbs up, and to the new subscribers. And don't forget to vote. We're voting on boxwood, rosewood, or ebony pegs. And until next time, God bless you. Bye.